What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Frankie Bones, and today is going to be the first episode of the CDL Map Breakdown series on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Today we're going to be showing you guys all of the locations of the objectives for the different game modes, telling you guys some spots, some popular callouts, and what ultimately is pretty effective on this map. So the first thing, one of the spawns is going to be back here on this street, and one will be back on the other side, which I'll show you guys a little bit later. But we are going to go in order in terms of the hard points and spots and callouts, things like that. So the first thing is the other team is going to spawn back here behind that wall. First callout is this is going to be main arch, or others call it lobby as well. Your lobby pushing back over to back there. This is going to be a popular break. Another break off the spawn is running around this side over here to the right. And this is going to be double arches, or dubs, people like to call it. Moving on as well, we have contest spot right here, I like to call it. So this is a pretty popular spot. Sort of tough to shoot through when you're snaking back here. And gives the team on this side an opportunity to try and get some time. When that other side sort of has a little bit of control. Sort of going back up over this way. This sort of alleyway here is called con, or connector, which will lead you over here into the restaurant. This is another contest spot from this side. A lot of times it sort of depends which side you're on in terms of what your callouts are going to be. These are the mid-headies back here on these windows. Pretty popular spot to be able to keep guys off the point. On this side you can watch dub. This side you can try and watch main. And then the other really important spot, or the most important, this is called couches. I wonder why. This gives you an opportunity to try and get pushed up. Try and kill them in the spawn back here. Or if you're on this side, you can try and cut down the right side of the map. Or watch dubs, or sort of get pushed up here into main. Now, a couple notes about this hill in particular. It is the 4th lowest average hill time per hill. So that means that there's a lot of contesting going back and forth. So not a lot of people get a lot of time. A lot of people are trying to rotate to P2, which is over here. So this is the second hard point. This one has the 6th highest average hill time. Going through a couple of callouts. I'm going to try and go quick so we can keep up with the map. People call this lobby. Over here is check-in desk. This back here will be small arch, so you'll call coming from small. Back there is spa, which we'll get to. But another really popular spot is sitting back here on this heady, on the stairs, and sort of snaking this as people come through restaurant. You can sit here as well. You can sit back on this side and watch front. Watch spa on that side. Just really popular right now, especially with the nature of snaking. And is really important to be able to hold some of these positions to get the most amount of time possible, as this is a money hill. Another spot here, this is called white. Again, I wonder why. A lot of the callouts are pretty generic, but that is an area where people try and break from, either spa or from white. This little hallway here is called rugs, or wine, some people like to call it. Here we're going to have cat room. Here's the catwalk, obviously. This is going to be front, those 2 doors right there. As we rotate over to P3, that's going to be side door. Here is going to be freezer or storage. Back door here, obviously. But it's going to be really important to rotate back over here to restaurant again, as this is sort of the second money hill on this map. A lot of these hills, and then quickly here, this is called bricks, which takes you to side door. So you can go side bricks, front bricks. But one interesting thing about this map in particular is that it has the lowest hills per match at just over 9.5, meaning that a lot of hills are being controlled for a lot of time by different teams. So definitely interesting to try and get your setups for this map, and a lot of the best teams like to play this map. So in terms of the CDL, this can be a win condition for a lot of teams. But this is P4 here. A lot of popular spots. People like to snake back here. You can be on this time from back on this side. So if you want to watch small arch from here, or if you want to try and watch mid, can be a pretty good spot. A lot of people try and sort of contest from this front corner. You can pick people going to the back or try and camera people coming from the front. But it is pretty hard to break from this right side. I think you sort of flood from either couches or low bed. So I think a lot of people like to try and go around either through white or through main. But it is definitely possible as well to try and manipulate some spawns and get them to spawn on that back street or in spa and try and take advantage of the time. So for the next hill, we're going over to restaurant, which I don't believe you've seen too much of. This is the snaking of all snake maps. People are going to be right here. I'm not the best at snaking. My new controller is coming today with some back paddles, so pretty excited about that. But people are going to be snaking all over here. People are going to be up over on top of the booths over here on this side. There's a lot to watch for this hill, so it's important to try and split out. If you can have one person on the hill, it's definitely an advantage. People come from rugs on this side, rugs on that side. You come from outer, come over here to storage. They can come out of here from cat room or back in kitchen. So really a pretty hectic hill overall. And moving here on to P6, which is the last hill on the map. We head over here to garage. So the other spawn is going to be back right here by this van. But as we go up here, this is sort of garage plat or plat. A lot of people are going to try and break from the front, either come across cat, they can hop up the elevator shaft. Another popular strategy is breaking over through kitchen, so people will flood in the back that way. So it's really important to try and anchor either back over there or try and have somebody back over here by back steps. Sort of hop up this van, a little cheeky spot. But a lot of people as well will hit this outer plat, try and get control, pick anybody that's out of that spot right there, that close contest corner. But another really popular spot, which we'll get into in some of the other game modes like control, we have top bed here, which is what I was talking about for the P4, and sort of trap them back there in that spa spawn. As well, here's low beds. You can climb up the elevator shaft, you can hit through, and then you're back under garage over here on this side. But on a lot of these hills, there's a lot to watch, so it's sort of important to be able to mix up your angles, to sort of have one person on the hill to try and get as much information as you can, and ultimately have as many doors covered as possible. Obviously on P1, that's a big thing as well. People coming out of bricks, guys will spawn over there. Guys come out of main, dubs, where they're spawning in the back, what have you. So really a pretty hectic hardpoint map overall, but teams do get a lot of time, and I feel like as we continue to progress in the CDL, we will see this really being the most popular hardpoint map, if it's not vetoed by teams. I feel like a lot of the best teams do play on Hotel for as many game modes as they can. This is in all three: hardpoint, search and destroy, and control. So teams that are really good on this map are going to like to play it. And ultimately there are some other maps that teams will have to veto. So this is a really popular map and one that your team hopefully is really, really good at. But that's sort of all I wanted to go through for the hardpoint. For certain hills, you're going to want to try and hit around. You don't want to be funneling through. Like, for example, for the P2, you're going to want to try and either dive through and try and get the back spawns, or you can try and dive through spa and manipulate the spawns back in through there. But rotating is really, really important on this map. Like I was mentioning with the stat, just over 9.5 hills per game on this map. It is really important to rotate because teams are pretty effectively being able to hold these hard points, and ultimately if they're able to manipulate some of the spawns, it's really beneficial to the team and really puts you in a good situation. The spawns obviously were updated before Season 2, to be more like a traditional Call of Duty where you really have to do a good job of blocking spawns. If spawns are open, people are going to spawn there. But that's going to do it for the Hardpoint. What we're going to do now is we are going to hop over to Search and Destroy, where I'll show you guys where the sites are, some strategies, and some statistics as well about what teams are doing well, and things that you guys can incorporate into your gameplay as well. So I'll see you guys over in the Search and Destroy. Alright guys, so as we hop over into the Search and Destroy, keep in mind these are all private matches, so the rules may be a little different in terms of times, things like that. But we do spawn on the same side again, maybe for the control, I'll try and switch it up. But just a couple of stats, I feel like this hotel map is sort of a second tier S&D map. You don't see a ton of teams play it, but certainly as the year goes on, a lot of vetoes and bans are going to be more solidified. Maybe, hopefully some maps will be added here in Season 2 in the middle of February. But I do think that it can be a win condition for some teams. Again, this is going to be a really popular map for some of the better teams, knowing how to manipulate spawns and create favorable situations. But talking a little bit about this map in general, the first thing in particular is that you see 3 times as many A plants as you do B plants. So just to show you guys the map here, the B bomb is back in kitchen, and we will sort of hop over there when we spawn in on the next side. But there are 3 times as many plants here on the A site. Part of that is due to the nature of Search and Destroy. As you can see, obviously this bomb site is relatively close to the spawn for the attacking side, as opposed to B, which is all the way over in the defending team's spawn. Basically all the maps are like this, so you will pretty much see a pretty decent spread like this on all Search and Destroy maps. But just figured that that was a good stat for you guys and sort of speaks to the narrative and how Search and Destroy is played in this game overall. But talking about some other key statistics and information that I found, this information that I'm sort of pulling and bringing up in this video are from a spreadsheet that Benjay Nassim had shared on his stream, I believe a couple of weeks ago. I'm not going to link it just because it's sort of not mine to give out. At first I thought it was really interesting and just wanted to incorporate some ideas into the video. But just to tell you guys where some of the stats are coming from, you know it's coming from the boy Benjay, so very credible in terms of information. Maybe not as much opinion, although he is a pretty seasoned person in the CDL. He ultimately never played professionally. So I do like a lot of the stats and information that Benjay brings up on the flank or on his stream or on Twitter. So shout out to Benjay, appreciate the stats. But one thing in particular, oh man, I forgot to plant the bomb there. But some other stats, the first blood win percentage on this map is at 76%, meaning that a lot of teams, and that's on offense, so we're going to spawn back in on offense here. And I'll head over to B for you guys just to show you guys that bomb site over there. But the first blood win percentage for offense is at 76%, meaning that if your team gets the first blood and gets the first kill, that just about 3/4 of the time you guys are going to be getting the win. So on A, definitely some unique setups you can have, whether it's having top bed control, whether it can be controlling mid on the cross through couches, tons of different setups. I'm not going to really go through too many setups for Search, as teams mix that up all the time. We'll show you a couple spots here on B that are a little bit cruddy. And for first blood win percentage on defense, about 70%. So obviously these would be expected to be pretty high because obviously it's a 4-on-3, you're man up. And a lot of times these kills will come sort of 30 seconds into the round, maybe 15 seconds. So sort of gives the team who ultimately gets the kill some information and allows them to make a pretty accurate and successful play. Talking about the retake percentages here on this map, another reason A is pretty hard to retake. Part of that is because of it being so close to the spawn. Teams have a good opportunity to get set up. And if teams are able to get over to A and get the bomb down, a lot of times they've already gotten a kill, or it might be a 3-on-3. So the situations are a little bit difficult there for retakes. 27%, and then the B retake percentage is just about 38%. So definitely easier to retake, and obviously easier to defend this site, being so close to the defending team's spawn. But a couple of spots, a lot of people are always sort of snaking in here, trying to get some information, whether they're watching outer, or you can snake on this side. Sound cues and sound whoring is really important in this game, so you can leave this door closed. People are going to have to either bust through that or peek it, and then sort of push it open, and it'll be more quiet. Same with the back doors. You can keep those closed and sort of be checking it. I'm going to lay this down just so I can keep talking a little bit during this round, get through some of the other statistics. Another one that I thought was really interesting is that in Search and Destroy, I think a lot of teams are sort of favoring offense in a way, and I'd be interested as we go through the videos to talk about the win percentages on offenses versus defenses. But in this map in particular, it's just about a 50-50 win percentage in terms of offense and defense. So definitely sort of unique and something that we don't typically see in COD, but that's a pretty popular spot sitting on the TV. Some people will try and corner in here. Sound tour for people coming through rugs here, sitting in cat room, as well as playing those back steps and just sort of peeking it. It all sort of depends what you plant for and sort of how your team likes to set up. But that's going to do it for the Search and Destroy. Actually, we'll hop over to B really quickly, or A really quickly, show you guys a couple of power spots for A to get set up once you get the bomb down. And then we'll head over to the control, which is definitely pretty interesting. And again, a lot of the best teams are playing it. So it sort of depends where you get the bomb down. In many situations, where you're going to be want to be watching this bomb from. So typically people are going to either try and stretch it, which is pretty wild, to like all the way out over here. So when you're laying down, they can't really see you from top as well. But a lot of people are going to want to get pushed up here to where they can sort of watch. Again, a lot of pros are sort of going to watch that spot. If you're able to clear out their bedroom, you can sit all the way back in here, sort of behind this door. And the way this door opens up, if they burst in, you're sort of behind the door in the corner, which is a pretty big creddy. Back here on outer is a pretty popular spot to sit, especially off the break. I like sniping down this way or watching top bed. You can sit over here in the bar at a bunch of different spots, try and cut off people from low bed or from couches. Sort of depending on the situation. If you think you have mid control, you can watch it from here. If you think teams are going to try and wrap back through, as well as getting up to top bed. And this is really the most important spot. When you're able to get the A bomb down, you can either sort of be snaking out and around to check out over here on this side, or you can be in the bedroom window watching down. If you plant it in a spot, it's pretty out in the open, and you're able to, you can shoot through this. So obviously it's not the best cover, but you can snake around. There's lots of room to move around. You can play your life up here if people are trying to come across cat over here to try and retake the site. But these are some of the most important and the most played spots by the pros on post-plant strategies. But that's going to do it for the Search and Destroy, guys. We'll hop over to the control and close out this video with a pretty popular control in terms of the map set in this game. Alright, guys, so to wrap up the video, we're going to hop into control. Guess maybe I should switch teams so I can spawn on the other side. I think I said I was going to do that, but sort of forgot. So we'll be here on defense to start. The most important thing about any control is spawn manipulation. If you guys do watch the CDL, you see how important it is across all three maps, whether it be Hotel, whether it be Fortress, or El Asilo. Really important to be able to try and manipulate the spawns of the other team and sort of put yourself in a very advantageous spot to be able to close out the round. So a lot of teams we've seen on Control, you're able to get at least 1 point. On this map in particular, I think it's about just over 4.5 ticks on average for the attacking team. So there are a lot of ticks that are getting captured by offensive teams, and we'll get into a couple of the stats here in a minute. But in terms of defending B, a lot of teams, this is going to be the point that you're going to want to sort of defend at all costs. We'll get into the spawns a little bit, but a lot of people are going to want to hop up on this bookcase. You can watch top bed. You can also sort of see bottom bed as well, so you can feed some info. You can snake here on this pillar, snake in the back if they're trying to come up from there. A lot of people will sit on this column to watch L, which is a really popular spot. People trying to fill through. People will also be trying to defend the main arch. Sitting here in lobby, you can snake the check-in desk. Here far, you can have it close. And then depending on your map control as well, you can even try and watch this cross. If you already have A captured, you can sort of watch the B cross here from con, and gives you a nice little angle there. Maybe try and get pushed up and push him back to the spawns. But something that's really important in this mode, like I was saying, is controlling the spawns. Went over some of the stats. There's a 58% win percentage on offense on this map. Again, sort of favoring that teams like offense overall, whether it be search and destroy or control. The best teams are sort of going to know how to get their kills, timing of in terms of when you're going to stack. When you have multiple people on the objective, it'll go up faster. So a lot of teams will do a good job of being able to count players, keep track, and also knowing what sort of map control they have and likely what spawns they are going to get. So I'll talk a little bit more about the spawns when we hop over to offense here. But this is the A point over here, so a lot of snaking goes on, similar to P5. A lot of times this is going to be the first point that's captured. People will be watching outer snaking. People will watch that double rug door from the defensive spawn. You can't sit over here to capture, but a lot of times people will play their lives. Not very often in any control, the mode will come down to kills, so a lot of people will sort of put a value on their life because these rounds can go pretty quick as a result of that spawn manipulation. But you do see A get captured just about every single time, as opposed to B, where it is a little bit harder to capture. An interesting stat about B that I pulled from the spreadsheet as well is that 87% of B caps end up as a win for the attacking team. Again, just sort of shows that this is a pretty hard spot objective to be able to capture. But once you're able to capture this point, you ultimately win, 87% of rounds, like I'd mentioned. So this is a pretty key objective to try and get for the offense. Whether you're switching back and forth from A to B, try and mix up your pressure depending on what spawn you get. So here we are, we're going to spawn right behind this van, sort of like I was talking about. But offense is, I wouldn't say it's easy, but like I was saying, a lot of the best teams like this map for control, and just based on the fact of how you're able to manipulate spawns. So we'll talk about that a little bit. So when you're over here on A, it's sort of described as checkpoints on the map for the defensive team, or it's sort of for any team. You have to reach certain checkpoints to be able to have different spawns. So ultimately, if the defending team is able to get pushed up in a certain way on control, it's very much going to manipulate the spawns. So the first example that I'm going to bring up is if teams are sort of playing mid, or if you have an A push and there's players pushed up either in restaurant, or there's sort of somebody sitting here on the cross, but there's really nobody pushed up on the B side, then players on the attacking team are going to get what Patel likes to call the Super Giga Omega spawn, which is over here. So essentially you're going to spawn in this back room on this side. So all we're going to have to do is just run forward. Hopefully we have a teammate on the point or maybe some top bedroom control, and we'll just hop on. It's a pretty popular spot to attack from. Pretty similar to Hardpoint. You can sort of capture from some cheese spots. A lot of people like to lay down on this side and farm some of the people playing from Spa. But it's really important to play your life. If you're able to get 1 or 2 kills as a team, you're able to hop back on and make the big push for B. So ultimately, it's sort of situational. You're going to want to sort of read your spawns and try and make an assumption of where some players are, where the map is open, and what times you could take advantage of the spawns. So that's the first example, which really happens at different points of the game. You don't have to have the A point captured, but if there are people pushed up into kitchen, once you get A captured, sort of trying to force you over here, you're definitely going to spawn over here on this side if they're pushed up in A in kitchen, or just sort of in restaurant. Maybe they're playing in front bricks over here. Alright, so apologies for the phone ringing there for you guys. I'll leave that in because that's kind of funny. But the other situation in terms of manipulating spawns is if that team is able to, if the attacking team is able to get, the team that's on offense is able to capture A, something that's really important for the defending team to do when you're in this situation. So I'll just go ahead over here and capture B. It'll take just a second, but it'll give us just a little bit more time, and I sort of want to explain this here on offense. So you're going to most likely have 2 trophy players as well. A lot of times it'll be your assault rifles, so it's important when you're pushing as a team. Each trophy does have, I believe, 3 shots, 1 from like each of those little arms. And so it's important to be able to throw your tacks and stuns to get the players off the point, or at least destroy the trophy, especially particular because the kill streak, the only one that's allowed, the glide bomb or cruise missile, sort of whatever you want to call it, it's basically just like a predator missile, is that this is obviously glass, so you can come right down through. But if you're able to break the trophies, or if they expire, like you just saw, obviously nothing was thrown at it, but they're on a time limit. You're going to want to throw your tacks and stuns and your lethals, your nades, your frags to destroy that and sort of open it up for the kill streak. But the other position on defense that's really important, if the team somehow does get B, as a defending team, you're going to want to get pushed up into kitchen. Or at least, I'm not sure exactly if being in cat room as a defender is going to do it as well, but when you are pushed up kitchen, the close spawn for A is going to be just right back outside these doors, or maybe sort of back in the kitchen like here behind storage or freezer. But by being in kitchen, you're blocking this close spawn, so it'll be similar to being pushed up on that B side, and ultimately it's going to spawn the players back over here right through the grenade, so back over by the van, or sort of back over there by the actual spawn itself. And it's going to be an absolute trek for these players to come off spawn, and gives your defending team more time, whether you need players spawning up or ultimately just trying to get some position. A lot of times it comes down to time and not lives, so it's really important to get that spawn, block them over towards the garage. And especially because there's so many things to watch, being pushed up, sort of take on some one-on-one gunfights, which can be tough. Obviously, you want to be able to team shoot and pick up trades, but it's really important on defense to get them pushed back. And most times we've seen people go round 5s for control, a lot of evenly matched teams, and that's going to come down to how many ticks in terms of the tiebreaker for round 5. How many ticks each team has. The team that has more is ultimately going to be on defense. which a lot of times can be advantageous, but again, a lot of the better teams do sort of like attacking as well, or ultimately are able to pick up an offensive round. So really important to just be able to push those players back and manipulate the spawns overall, which we've seen across all of the control maps in general. But that's going to do it for our wrap up on Breenbergh Hotel. We went through Hardpoint, we went through Search and Destroy, and we just wrapped it up with Control. I hope you guys enjoy this type of video, as I'm going to be, like I was mentioning, starting a series, going through, breaking down all of the maps on the different game modes they have, giving the call outs, so you guys are able to comm with your team. Comms are really important in this game as much as any, especially when there's 4v4, there's spawn delay, things like that. So really being able to relay information to your team is key. But I look forward to bringing some more of these videos later on next week. I already sort of have this week planned out, but next week I'll try and get a few done. I'm trying to get the maps done that have the most amount of modes on them. So next we'll be doing Fortress, although arguably there, shouldn't be any modes on Fortress, but that's sort of the reality we live in now. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. I really appreciate all the support on the recent videos. We're on the road to 100 subscribers, so if you guys haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. If you guys enjoyed, please hit the like button as well. It's been your boy Frankie Bones, and I'll catch you again in the next one. Peace out.